After a nightmare start to the season, the Bucks have been on fire over the last month, including a dominant win over the Oklahoma City Thunder in the NBA Cup Finals. Heading into this game, the Thunder had been the #1 defense in the NBA by a comfortable margin, as well as the 8th best offense in the league. But Oklahoma City's limitations were made glaringly apparent against Milwaukee in the NBA Cup Finals, with Giannis dropping 26 points, 19 rebounds, and 10 assists, on top of 2 steals and 3 blocks. So how did the Bucks make one of the best defenses that we've seen in a long time look genuinely helpless at times throughout this game? While the Thunder's defense is fantastic, their defense isn't able to stop everyone and everything. The Thunder's defensive success is predicated heavily on turnover generation. They rank #1 in turnover rate at 19%, meaning that their opponents turn the ball over on 19% of their total possessions. And for reference, that's 4.2 percentage points higher than league average. But that ability to generate turnovers was significantly mitigated by Milwaukee's size, being able to take advantage of smaller defenders and late help. Hartenstein is on Lopez, and even though he's playing off of him a little bit, he's not able to get there in time to disrupt an easy slam when Giannis makes a move to the basket. To prevent Giannis from getting easy looks, the Thunder were sending a wave of bodies at him, but Milwaukee counters this by having Andre Jackson Jr. set this pin-in screen so Giannis can hit the skip pass to the weak side corner. And even though it ends in a miss, this is a sneak peek at the kind of looks that the Bucks were generating throughout the night. Even when Giannis had those multiple bodies on him, nobody in this clip that's close to him is taller than Shea at 6'6", so Giannis is able to just rise above all of them to put the ball in. The Bucks were force-feeding Giannis elbow touches, and we get to see Giannis flex that mid-range game that he's developed this year, a shot that he's hitting at an absolutely elite clip, currently sitting at 46% on the season, and we see him hit J-Dub with a nasty fall-away jumper. Now, all of this opened up the two-man game between Giannis and Brook Lopez, which is something I'm going to touch on a little bit later. But when Giannis gets the ball in the post, when Hartenstein leaves Lopez to come double Giannis, Lopez cuts into space in the paint, and Giannis makes a great read to him for the easy 2 points when there's no one that's able to stop Lopez at the rim. Hartenstein was usually on the weak side of the floor, but he was never really close enough to the play to provide help. Whether this was by design or a lapse of judgment by Hartenstein, it left Giannis with really no problem getting to the rim. Now, the Bucks were obviously running a lot of their offense through Giannis, and it really didn't matter where he had the ball. The Thunder were going to send at least 2 bodies on him, but Giannis is such a good passer that he was taking advantage of this all night. Here, he's bringing the ball up, and Kenrich Williams is ignoring Bobby Portis, so Giannis is going to place this pass perfectly for him to step into a wide open, nearly uncontested 3. Again, bringing the ball up, and Caruso is far more focused on walling up against Giannis so that they can prevent him from getting ahead of steam going downhill. But all this does is leave Damian Lillard open 1 pass away, and this is a shot that Dame is happy to take all night. When you're setting double teams like this, especially against Giannis Antetokounmpo, you have to be really crisp with your rotations everywhere else on the floor, and that's something that the Thunder are typically very good at, but they seem just a little bit too slow with a lot of those rotations, and it gave up tons of perimeter looks. Giannis gets the early switch onto Hartenstein and proceeds to start working against him off the dribble, and although Hartenstein initially does a good job stonewalling him and forces him to pick up his dribble, notice how OKC has multiple guys honed in on him in the paint. So Giannis is going to take his pivot to pull them further in and keep Case and Wallace off the perimeter, and this gives Gary Trent Jr. a wide open 3 in the corner. The second that the Thunder sent those double teams, Giannis was hitting the open man, and with Shea not rotating up off of Andre Jackson Jr., Prince is going to get an easy catch and shoot look. On this possession, the Thunder are using J-Dub as a roamer in the paint, meaning that Caruso is going to be responsible for covering the weak side shooting threats. With Dort and J-Dub doubling Giannis in the post, Giannis hits Trent with the skip pass, and although Caruso makes that initial rotation to him, Hartenstein is too aggressive with his closeout onto Dame, so Dame just takes 1 dribble into space to get the pull-up 3. Hartenstein is loaded up on Giannis, so AJ Green is going to make this cut along the baseline to relocate to the strong side corner, and this gives Giannis an outlet when he catches Hartenstein ball watching a little bit, and this gives Green just the right amount of space to elevate over the contest to nail the triple. When you ask the question of, okay, how are the Thunder supposed to stop any of this, The answer to that gets even more complicated when you look at what Milwaukee was doing with the two-man game between Giannis and Brook Lopez. A big talking point about this game is how devastating Milwaukee's size is, and that's really noticeable when you see them generating basically instant offense with things like double big pick and rolls. The Bucks had Lopez set these early screens for Giannis at half court, and this is just a guaranteed advantage because it allows Giannis to attack downhill, and not even Hartenstein's going to be able to stay in front of him to keep him from getting to the basket. Hartenstein expects Giannis to go left here, but Giannis rejects the screen, driving right and forcing Lou Dort to foul him to prevent him from getting an easy 2 points. On these more traditional pick and rolls, Lopez would use what's called a Varejao screen, where he flips it at the last second when the ball handler's defender thinks that it's coming from one direction, and this gives Giannis a better lane to drive because it catches the defense off guard, and this forces Hartenstein to help more aggressively, giving Lopez an open role to get the lob. Now, Hartenstein was called for the foul on the floor, but that was really the only way that OKC was able to stop Milwaukee from getting points with these double big pick and rolls. Now, this next play is really interesting because it was a clear shift in philosophy from what OKC had been doing. They trapped Giannis at half court, so he's going to feed it to Connaughton to set up this next action, which I think they accidentally ended up running what was basically a double big blind pig action. Lopez is going to move to the free throw line so that Connaughton can feed him, and then this sets up the dive by Giannis, and all Lopez has to do is throw it up to him against a much smaller Alex Caruso to give Giannis an easy finish. And on the subject of Brook Lopez, we really got to talk about how good his defense was in this game, especially considering he's 37 years old and he had back surgery 2 years ago and he's still operating like this. The Thunder tried to open things up at the rim with back cuts, with Hartenstein usually set up as if he's going to run a dribble handoff, and then the cutter would reject the screen to run to the rim, but Lopez was ready at all times to come from wherever he was to disrupt anything around the rim. His help defense was always quick to show on ball handlers to either speed them up so that they rush their shots or force them into a bad pass out of a drive. There was a point in the second half where the Thunder seemingly stopped trying to get to the rim entirely, and I think a large part of that is due to how much damage Giannis and Lopez were doing to the Thunder whenever they got within 14 feet of the basket. This led to OKC chasing threes for long stretches of the night, and the shot just was not falling. And credit to Andre Jackson Jr. for having some really tough defensive matchups, particularly against Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and he covered him really effectively. He spent 29 possessions guarding Shai, and Shai only shot the ball twice, missing both of those shots. He prevented the Thunder from getting the ball in the hands of their best player, and it made a huge difference in the Thunder's ability to generate offense consistently. This game feeds into a larger question about the Bucks. Some are going to debate the importance of the NBA Cup, discrediting how much it actually matters in the grand scheme of things, but it comes on the tail end of a long stretch of success for the Bucks. In the first 10 games of the season, they were 2-8 with a minus 5.1 net rating. Since then, they're 12-3 with a plus 5.7 net rating. Is this team perfect? No. Is this team magically a top contender in the NBA after this? We're going to have to wait and see. But there's no denying that this was a massive win for the confidence and chemistry of this team. Taking down a team that a large portion of NBA fans expect to make it out of the West this year speaks a lot to what this Bucks team is capable of. Not only did they just win this game, they dominated. And let's not forget, a month into this season, there were talks of the Bucks trading Giannis Antetokounmpo to jumpstart a rebuild. As they say though, winning cures all, and for now the Bucks are doing a lot of winning. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, consider leaving a like and subscribing. I'm putting out stuff like this all the time, so if you enjoy this kind of stuff, then make sure you never miss another video. Regardless, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.